What is up, Creative Gang? Today's guest is Samuel, all the way from the East Coast. First things first.
Let's get it, man. Let's get it. Cheers, man.
Cheers,
Salud.
guys.
Nice
Salud.
to meet you.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Hey, it's Cinco.
This won't air until 4 weeks from now, though, but it's all good.
Arre.
So, man, Samuel, I already messed up. Dude, nice to meet you, man. We've been following each other for a minute, and welcome to the podcast, dude.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. This is awesome.
We're happy you're here. So let's get right into it, man.
Yeah, let's get straight to the meat and potatoes.
How did you get into the creative space, and give your background story?
Cool.
Where are you from, first of all?
Yeah, so I'm from the East Coast. I'm from a place in Maryland, about 30 miles away from Baltimore. That's usually like a good geolocator for people that don't know the East Coast.
Right.
Small town.
So the DMV.
The DMV, you're hip.
That's
yeah,
right.
So I'm from the DMV.
We have one of our best friends lives there. That's why.
Oh, okay, very
Yeah.
cool.
Shit, my girl's from there, so.
Okay, sick. All right, cool. Well, y'all know where I'm from. Sometimes I tell people where I'm from, and they're just like, "Where is that?"
Yeah.
Like they've never heard Maryland.
Yeah.
There's this guy.
Maryland.
He's like, "You're a Marylander?" I was like, "I'm a Marylander."
Lobster meat? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the crab. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, isn't that New England though? The lobsters.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Maryland's known for its crabs.
Oh, okay.
Old
Okay.
Bay.
Yeah, for
East
sure, for
Coasters
sure.
love Old Bay.
Dope, man.
But yeah, so I'm from the East Coast. I moved to California almost a year ago on next week.
Shit,
Damn.
welcome,
Yeah.
late welcome.
Thank you.
How's it been treating you?
California's been great, man.
Yeah.
California's been great. The sun, the weather. I mean, I moved here for that, and I'm excited to be sitting at this table with you guys because a year ago, I'm on Instagram looking at hashtags, and I'm just like San Diego content creator, San Diego creative, San Diego videographers.
Just trying to network.
Is that
Just
right?
trying to network. Just seeing like what the lay of the land was like.
Right.
And I came across you guys.
Damn.
And so when I met him at that shoot, I was like, "You're from In the Frame podcast, right?" And he's just like, "You've heard my podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, I listen to it all the time."
That is so tight.
And so like, thank you for having me, guys. I'm from the East Coast. I got into the creative game kind of young, kind of early.
How old are we talking? By the way, great beard, dude.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just like acknowledging it, just like, man, this is pretty dope.
I appreciate it.
He's trying to get to you, but I don't know if you'll get there.
I was there once, remember? And I was like, it was just too much for me to maintain. So you're from the East Coast. How did this whole creativity thing? How old are you, by the way?
27.
27.
And you say you started at a young age.
20 years ago, I want to say I opened up Photoshop for the first time. Photoshop 7.
Damn.
And I was attempting to build a website on GeoCities, the Yahoo website builder, for my gaming team on the gaming PC that I had.
Right.
To take you guys down, like kind of like how I landed there. I grew up in church. So my dad, I grew up Pentecostal, which some people can relate to, which is like a stricter version of Christianity.
Okay.
And like I grew up like no worldly influences, no worldly music, no TV in the house. But at 7 years old, my parents were like, "We're going to get him a computer." And so my mom gave me the best gift that she could have ever given me. And she gave me a compact Presario. And I literally just used it to play DVDs from like the video rental store. That was until I figured out that like you could play video games on these things.
Yeah.
So like all my friends are playing on PlayStation or Dreamcast, whatever have you. And I got this computer and I'm like loading into AOL chat rooms after I figured out that there was an internet AIM. And that's kind of where like my story starts, man, in the digital area. So
This is what year?
this is 20 years ago. So I was
My
born
math is horrible.
I'm horrible at math. 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2000. Born in 1993. So 7 years later, 2000. That was easy math.
Because Compact doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
It's a brand. It's a computer brand, bro.
I'll let it because I do at that same exact time era. My cousin who I lived with, she had one of those colorful, the irony, a colorful MacBook.
The see-through ones? and
Oh,
shit?
you're talking about the Power Max with like
Yes,
the big CRT
yes,
towers
yes.
with the handle on top.
Yeah, it was just like the screen. It looked like a pear, but it was like different colors, multiple colors. And now, ironically, Apple dropped their new iMac Pros, and they're all like different colors, kind of like the retro look
With
from
the
the
retro
early
colors.
2000s. Exactly. So that's how I know about. I mean, all I knew about Apple. That's pretty much it. Compact. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah, my parents started me off on like the wrong note. Most creatives like grew up on like Apple or like that ecosystem.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, my mom buys me a computer. I get into first person shooters competitively. Naturally,
What game is this?
Unreal Tournament at the time.
Never heard of it.
Unreal. Yeah, so
I think it's like Call of Duty or something like that.
So yeah, later in life, Call of Duty, but most games are actually built off the Unreal Engine, and that was like one of like the flagship games. So a game that's more popular that people would know is like Quake or like Doom.
Doom, yes.
Yeah, so like all based off the same mechanics. Anyways, long story short, I got into that world. I wanted to build my gaming team a website, and I, at this point, at 7-8 years old, had kind of figured out that you could go online and find answers to things.
This is back in 2000, and you were able to figure that out, get that information. This is like you're like ahead of the curve.
That's how I felt then, and like now when I look back, like I have a little brother who's like 15, and I'm just like, and he's just like emulating like a lot of the things that I did as a young kid, and like I saw it when he was 7, he's picking up my mom's phone doing stuff.
But now like the information is like really, really out there. Where back then, like the information was very scarce. Like you had to pay for that. You had to go to college or go to some kind of tech school to like understand that process.
100%.
But you somehow you YouTube before YouTube was a thing.
I was, it's so funny because as I get ready, and we'll unpack that to like step into this like YouTube world, which is like I feel like very necessary for us as content creators. Of course. Even like podcasting.
We preach about YouTube University all the time.
All day. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's an awesome observation. At a very young age, whether it was the fact that like I'm in church, and if I'm not at church, I'm at school, and if I'm not at school, I'm at home, and like the greatest and coolest thing in my life is this computer that's sitting in front of me.
Right. I
just knew that it was a resource. To like backtrack, at that age, I was already reading a lot of books too. So like reading was always something that like I went to. Like I have this thirst for knowledge. And I think that that's really why I enjoyed like the creative space and like trying to figure out how to build that website, was because there was a way for me to figure out things how to do them and then do them.
Right.
Yeah.
So you build this website and how do you go from there?
Yeah. So then I, fast forward, let's say when I turned 15, I'm in school. I'm struggling in school because I don't have the attention to want to be in school. I'm reading books during class. Like I can't wait to go home and get on my computer, kind of thing. Like I'm learning at home more than I'm learning in school.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel. Right. I'm in AIM chat rooms at a young age talking to adults, networking at a young age.
Did you know you were networking back then?
I had no idea.
You were just fucking
I'm
going
just
with the
online.
flow.
Yeah. Like I felt like.
Did you have like, this is going to sound really bad, but like, did you have friends?
I did, yeah, man.
Or were you like a loner kid that was like in the computer all day?
So I think it's
because like at your age, dude, me and this guy we grew up together, so we fucking play football every single day after school at his front yard or at the park. Like we'd freaking play all these kind of games, man. Like we're outside.
Yeah.
Were you like computer clubs or how?
No, so like I've always interestingly enough for like. This is the first time I've probably ever unpacked this with anybody.
We're honored.
I'm honored to be here, man.
Dude,
I had friends for sure, like the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
Like I had those were my guys. Like, and I'd hang out with them, and then go home, get on the computer, and I'd be up till like 2 a.m.
Gotcha.
And then go to school.
Gotcha.
And just like kind of bullshit through school.
Yeah.
When I turned 15, just to kind of go back to where we were going, I like kind of figured out, hey, like I can make money, and like to just kind of take everyone back for a second.
You got that hustler mentality.
So my dad's a pastor, but he's also a truck driver. Everyone in our family is a bit like an entrepreneur of some sort. Like two of my uncles, all in trucks. So my dad's a truck driver. Two of my uncles both had their own trucking companies, construction companies. So I've seen the hustle, and also I'm seeing, because my dad's a pastor and I'm growing up in church, I'm seeing all these Latinos like literally suffering, breaking their backs, doing all kinds of odd end jobs. I am. I'm from El Salvador.
Okay. Fully?
Okay.
Hablo
español.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
A huevo.
Arre. Yeah, man. So, I grew up in that. Yeah. And so even like my Instagram handle, and this is probably something I was going to unpack later, Honor the Vision is all about that. It's about the fact that like I am the son of immigrants turned U.S. citizens, that my mom cleans houses. My dad drives trucks. It's been that way my whole life. And like, I just always knew that there had to be a smarter way to get ahead.
Yeah.
And for me, my opportunity was that compact, like that world of knowledge that was given to me at a young age. Yeah. Like to this day, I don't feel that I am the best photographer, the best videographer, or the best graphic designer.
Sure.
I just think that I have a good eye, and like I've spent so much time. And I think that the creative, like becoming a good creative is all about discipline. That's why you'll hear them say like multidisciplinarian, and that was just like, I wanted those answers.
Right.
You know, so I just kind of dove into that world to,
Yeah.
you know, like really unpack, like, what can I do with this? How can I make money with this? And that's what I was doing at 15. I was like, people need websites. Like, websites were starting to blow up. So my life from 7 to 15, what you were seeing happening in the technology space is we were going from dial-up to DSL and now cable. And so like those changes were making huge shifts in like the world around us and how people buy from each other. And I was able to be a part of that. And so at 15, I'm at Starbucks with like a church friend or something like that, I think was like the first client. And I'm like, yeah, I can build your website, $500. You know,
Damn.
And that was it. Like, just from the jump, I was like, this is worth at least $500. And like,
The fact that at a young age you're able to quote $500, bro, fuck. There's photographers our age that they quote fucking photography for like $100 a session is like, the fact that you're like, you had the balls of like, yo, 500 off the rip. I'm 15 years old, but what's good?
You know, I've had some time to unpack why, and this is a message to like all you creative people out there. It's 2-part. 1, raise your prices. 2, ask yourself why you don't think your work is worth more. And recently I've come to the conclusion that most people like are tying like a whatever sense of self-esteem to the price of their work. Like, a lot of the time, unless you're doing stuff in like the wedding space or like, you know, the like more of like the personal sector, your work is being used commercially. And so I've always wanted to work in the commercial side because it's always been really easy for me to be like, the value of what I'm doing for you is quantitative because there's always going to be a return.
Right.
But yeah, man, 15, I started building websites. That evolved slowly into, okay, I need images for these websites.
Okay.
And people need to like hire photographers. And at the same time, my dad hands me a film camera in church. And he's like, hey, I want you to start documenting our church services. And it was a Pentax that I never learned how to use. Immediately, I was like, nah, Dad, like there's digital cameras now.
Yeah.
And I got
People still use those.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was at a shoot last week and she had a big ass Pentax camera. It was like insane.
I still have the camera. Never shot film on it before in my life. It sits on my shelf. It's a part of like, you know, the office decor.
Yeah.
My mom bought a Olympia PowerShot digital camera. And that then birthed me taking pictures.
Okay.
Video was something I didn't explore until later in life, but that was to sum that up. That's kind of how I got into the creative world. And those were the entrepreneur influences in my life, you know, from family and like being in church where like I just had this natural, my dad's a leader kind of role that I like flew into sort of. And like I was learning from how he would talk to people.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to like have that charisma with people.
Interesting. That's so cool, man.
One thing I do want to ask, because the creative member out there is like, what the fuck? Like, how do you just learn how to build a website? So
Good question.
What were you like using to like learn and
what were your resources?
Yeah, man. So back then it was super limited. You would, I'm trying to think, is Google a thing yet?
Possibly, but it's not what it is now.
It was
where
like Yahoo. Like they
It
were
was
down
like
by-
Yahoo was a
search.
thing. I mean, shit, I still have my personal email is still Yahoo.
Yeah, man.
But just literally quote unquote Googling online and just figuring out from there.
Yeah, so something that like a lot of people have no idea about, but I grew up in, which is like where like before Facebook groups or before like Instagram, these like communities and like YouTube, there was internet forums. And like back then, these internet forums were super basic, but that's where you would go. And so I actually, as soon as you said that, I recalled exactly how I figured it out. Somehow or another, in a chat room, I asked, hey, how do I build a website for my team? And someone sent me, go to this, you know, graphic design forum, web design forum. And there I learned to like, you would click on a subject you were interested in, and then there would be discussions underneath that subject. And you would go into that. And so back then, now you can get like a summarized version of here's how to go from A to Z. But back then that didn't exist.
You had to like
you would
decode
piecemeal-
things.
You would decode it. Exactly. Yeah. You would like, oh, okay, this is how you start. That's how it started.
I love that you brought forums because to the young creators out there, like when I was in the car scene, I would like, man, like I saw this wing, I saw this spoiler on the street. I'm Googling it, like a cord wing or whatever. I can't find anything. And then one of my buddies, and when I went to a car meet, they were like, yo, go to forums. It was like 2008, 2009. And then he was like, go to forums. Like, what the fuck's a forum? Like, just look up forums of your car. And legit, there's subjects, and you click on them, and there's a bunch of pictures and little subject areas that you want to learn about your car?
Bro, I still use forms till today. Like whenever Premiere is bugging out and I need to figure out what's going on with Premiere,
So every other day?
I literally go into forum and there's an answer how to do it. Like if it's not on YouTube, I go to like Adobe Forums and it's all there.
Adobe Forums being one of the only places that are like still active, I think,
Super
for
active,
forums,
yeah.
because of how many problems Adobe
Because
solves.
Adobe just fucking
Why is Premiere doing this? It's like form.
yeah, seriously, dude, it's so fucking annoying, man. But okay, so you got we're at the point where you discover photography, you're doing creating websites, and then from there, what do you do?
Yeah, so kind of fast forward, I step into high school. I'm still doing that, like freelancing on the side.
That's
I pick
so
up
crazy,
maybe
dude.
1 or 2 clients. I grew up poor, like just to put that on the table. Like when people say that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see it now, but like then it was like I'm poor. Like I grew up going to like middle school with the same pair of pants and like the 5 for $20 Foot Locker t-shirts, and like I'd get one sick pair of shoes a year that my mom would buy me, and they'd always like typically be like Air Force Ones or the latest Jordans.
Those are $80 shoes, right?
You know
there.
what I mean? Yeah,
Like a mask, boy.
I know because I used to get them in middle school.
You know, exactly. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So in my head, I'm like, I want to upgrade my computer. Like that was a thing happening, right? At a young age, like I've built all my computers, so I have this relationship with technology. I want to fit in at school.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question earlier, like I had those like neighborhood friends, and like people in school thought I was cool just because I liked to talk. But like it was very clear always that I was in my own world.
Right.
You know, because I'm reading. And like we're in class and people are socializing, and I'm just like, I want to read. I want to learn about whatever I can learn about.
And how did your parents feel about you being in that space? Because even till now, man, like I parents don't understand the tech world in 2021, let alone 2008, 2009.
Was it like a thing like, oh, look, mom doing this? Like, oh, okay, mijo, okay. Like, or
Like, was
a-
she like worried? Like, what is this fucking kid doing? Like on a computer all day? Is he watching porn all day? Or
How-
what the hell? Like,
How supportive were your parents? Like,
Yeah,
in your
so
parents'
to kind of give you guys all like what home life was like, my dad's a truck driver, so he was gone, you know, Monday through Friday. And when he would come home on the weekends, he was a pastor.
yeah,
So when he would come home, like my way of spending time with my dad was like going to church.
yeah.
okay.
You know, my mom, she's raising me. It's not like a single mother, but almost, you know, like a
Are
single
you
parent.
any siblings?
I do have 2 older sisters and 2 brothers, but that's like a different story.
Gotcha.
The one brother is a younger brother that wasn't born until like I was already 17.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's basically me and my mom,
Gotcha.
and we're poor, right? I mean, it's what it was. And so she's working every day. My dad's out driving trucks. My mom's working. She comes home from cleaning 4 or 5 houses. She doesn't care what I'm doing.
Okay.
You know,
She's just fucking beat.
she's beat. You know what I mean? She comes home, makes food, and like
She's like, oh, you're alive? You ate? All right, we're good.
you know, if you could kind of relate to like if you guys have siblings and you come home and they're just like playing video games.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know what a computer really is. Like the internet was just being born.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the 90s baby that grew up with AOL.
Yeah.
You know, so like she doesn't even really understand what's happening. And there was a funny moment where like my dad upgraded me from AOL to DSL. And that's when the world changed. Because once I got off dial-up and like I could like really, you know, like surf around
Surf
the
the
internet,
net, yeah.
surf the net.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the game changer.
Dial-up was the worst, man. You wait 45 minutes to get on MySpace back then. It was bad.
So okay, so what happens next after you're figuring out how do you get into the camera world? Because now I see your Instagram and like you do a lot of online still website building and you do a little bit of photography and studio work. So how did you get into that?
Yeah, man. So I dropped out of high school.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
you did?
Yeah, I dropped out of high school. I'm 17. I've amassed this knowledge. Like I'm confident enough to like be like, yo, I'll build you or do something for you for X amount of money. That was like confidence my dad gave me for sure, 100%. Like
That's tight.
credit goes to Pops for that one.
But I'm sure they're not happy that you fucking just dropped out.
Yeah, well, they went with me. You know what I mean? Like my dad's like, you're so stubborn that like your mind's set on this. That's what you're gonna do. My mom was devastated. Like she wanted to see that diploma on the wall for sure. Every time that Drake song hits, or he's like, I gave up, the diploma's on the wall. I'm like, ooh. Like,
Dude, I kind of feel that too because my mom like wishes that me and my brother got a college diploma, but like we're doing pretty good for ourselves though. But it's like I always tell like, Mom, We good though. Like, we got money. Like,
we out here pushing pixels, man.
yeah.
So
so you drop out and then you go balls deep into the creative space.
I go all in. Instagram's popping up around that time. Websites like Web 2.0. If you guys have ever heard that coin term, that's when like the web was very bubbly and like it was like we went from this is probably like super nerdy, but we went from like 1024 by 768 to like 1080p.
Sure.
So like the world got wider.
Yeah.
And now we're on these 1920 by 1080 screens, and like there's just all this like real estate now.
Yeah.
It was before we really went mobile heavy. Like, yeah, Instagram and like mobile apps are being birthed.
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone is taking over, right? Facebook is really having its run at that point.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like started stepping up my web. And when I dropped out of school, I took this job. And this is the lead into how I ended up with an agency. Okay. So I took this job repairing computers because I grew up building them at a young age. Yeah, so I take this job repairing computers at like this like local computer repair shop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sharing that office. Now, as an adult, it makes sense, right? Like office space is expensive.
Yeah.
So like you're always looking for a partner. I didn't understand it then. I'm 17, just dropped out of school, looking for something to sustain me while I try to build my freelancing career at a young age. Like I'm not even driving it.
Yeah.
And they shared like this office with these like web designers and graphic designers. And so I'm fixing computers and I'm like, this is cool. I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. Like I started exploring that route, which if you've ever had friends in IT, looks like CompTIA or Cisco or like some sort of Microsoft certification. And I can't. I am a visually spatial person. Like I have to do things visually and create, or like I'm not happy.
Not hands-on.
Yeah, like I love like building.
Hands-on. Okay.
You know what I mean? But like I have to like, it has to like have creativity involved.
Sure.
Like I have to be putting something together that's like, you know, like I like building computers for me.
Yeah.
Hated fixing computers for like other people. Like I got a virus. I did this. My hard drive's dead.
I used to take my computer to a computer shop all the time because LimeWire will fuck my shit up.
LimeWire.
Literally every 6 months, mom would pay for it. I was like fucking high school.
Yeah.
I'm downloading all these Lil Wayne mixtapes and like I'm getting viruses left and right. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
What a time to be alive.
Exactly.
When Lil Wayne was dropping those mixtapes so you could just get them on
That was like the
LimeWire.
best musical era ever, I think.
Oh man.
I use fucking Bear Share. You know?
Bear Share.
Yeah.
Lennon told me about
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
There's another one too with a K. It was like
I know there's a few out there, but I remember LimeWire was like the main one.
it's like when peer-to-peer happened and now we have crypto. like blast from the past.
So you did you end up quitting the job or?
Yeah, so to speed that time frame up, I basically ended up quitting that job, but I had befriended the web designer, graphic designer duo and had like shared and showed them like things that was happening in the web space that like they didn't learn in school. So they were very like traditional, like print and web designers.
Through the books.
To the books. I'm this like renegade, 17, 18-year-old that grew up with the internet. Like there's something called responsive websites. This is something that you need to do so that like your website is, shows up on search engines better, like very technical.
Mm-hmm.
And as
SEO,
right. And as life would have it, a year or two later, the timeline's a little skewed, but let's just say a year or two later, that guy ends up taking a job with Marriott, like the hotel group, as their director of design, like the guy, and takes this like, cozy 6-figure job and leaves behind this book of clients. And I catch wind of it because I'm friends with the computer repair guy. And one way or another, I saw the opportunity and I just like, hey, like, so-and-so, what are you doing with the business? What are you doing with all those clients? Like I know you have a big book of clients and this is all in the town I'm from in Frederick.
Yeah.
And at, let's say at this point, this is a couple years down the road. So at this point I'm like 20, 21.
Okay.
I've been freelancing a little bit, like shooting pictures, doing like the weddings for $500. Like,
are you doing decent money?
For 18-year-old, sure.
Yeah.
How much money was I making? Who knows? I was blowing it faster than I could hold on to it because
on what, though?
I
I'm
grew
curious.
up poor. Technology, like cameras, camera gear. Like at that point, I was a Canon boy.
And so let's talk about a little bit of that before we go back into the computer space. What kind of cameras are you getting? Because this is a camera
What was the first one you purchased?
Yeah. The first camera I started on, a first like digital like camera was a Canon 20D.
Okay.
I went from Canon 20D to a Canon 5D Mark II.
Okay.
Damn.
I had two
Good
of those.
camera.
Yeah, great camera.
Amazing. Still.
People still use that.
I
Yeah.
still miss the feeling of the Canon 5D Mark III.
The ergonomics.
It's just it's not there on the Sony. Like
Yeah.
one of my boys has like a battery grip.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, this is like almost like back in the old day.
It's like a tank again.
but there's something about
It's your first
to my Sony
it's
family
your
out
first
there.
love. It's your
I
first love.
promise I'm not going back.
It's your first love.
It was, and that's where like that all came together. The Canon 5D Mark III was like, okay, I need to upgrade to this because like the color, and I'm seeing color, and I'm seeing the people around me making videos, because at that point, you know, you're like networking and you're seeing what other creatives are doing, and that's how you learn. Like that's 100% how you learn.
Facts.
And I'm like, okay, I need a 5D Mark II, and then I need a 5D Mark III.
Damn.
So yeah, that was kind of my camera journey.
And in between like computer development for people, you are doing photography and videography on the side, you were saying.
Exactly.
Okay. And so you get wind about this book of clients that are just out for the wild. You hear about it. How did you hear about it?
So the guy that I worked for that repaired
took off.
computers. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I kind of had like taken off myself to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Because like I tell people I've had one job and that's really it. And the only like second job I've had was like when I got to California.
Okay.
Because I was pretty much like set on not working for anybody.
Okay.
Just like out the gate. But yeah, so I hear about this opportunity. I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, like I've gotten pretty good at web design. I'm doing photography now. Like I'm playing with video. I'm not really good at it, but like I'm really good at bullshitting that I'm good at it. So I'm like, hey, like I can do videos for you. And in my head, I'm like, I know people that can do this, and I'll just charge more. Like that was always kind of like, you know, a skill that I had was like,
It's a great skill to have.
I'll just charge more, and then I'll go find somebody who will do
And
this.
you pay them their rate.
And I'll pay them their
And
rate.
you still get a piece.
Yeah, because they're happy to do it for $500. I'm gonna charge $2.
It's called sourcing, baby.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I feel like this is like something we need to do an individual podcast, Pete. Where is it a known thing to fuck? We could just get into it right now, man. Fuck it. Is it weird to have I don't even know if it's a phrase, a referral fee? Is that necessary? Is that a thing? Because I put that question out in like Facebook groups and
You mean
stuff
a
like
cut?
that.
Like I'll get you a
I'm
job,
like, bro.
but
Like I'm getting you free work, and like like. People would always say in the comments like, well, there's a possibility that he could return the favor. And I'm like, bro, that's unlikely. I mean, yeah, there's that small percent chance, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, like I'm feeding you work and stuff like that. It's like you haven't really done anything in return. And it's not like I'm doing something to get something in return.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, bro, like I'm feeding you all this fucking work because of my network. My network is worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot to me. And I'm just passing these fucking gigs to people that don't have that network, because I'm sure you could probably understand, but excluding you because you're very good at this. From what I understand from this conversation, is you're good at talking to people. I want to say bullshitting, like you said earlier.
Oh no, I'm a professional bullshitter. That's why I'm
But
here.
you know how to talk, and that's this fucking valuable skill to have,
Yeah.
man. Like I know how to talk to human beings and make them feel great and sell it, and like sell them without even pitching anything. Like I'll sell you on something without fucking like, bro, you need to hire me. I'll never fucking say that. I'll let them fucking say that off. And if they feel like they can't do it, then they can't do it. But it's all good. But a lot of creatives are just so fucking awkward and don't know how to talk to people. And so like I feel like that's some kind of value, man. And then you're just passing a lot of shit. Like,
well, he just said he overcharges, so you can get a fee, right?
so
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Like you're clearly in favor of like having some sort of referral fee in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The question is like, I don't know if that's taboo or not, because it's like some people say yes, some people say no. But I'm in the position where like, bro, like I have a crazy network, and you could value from this.
Shit. Let me. You can answer. Do you want to answer first?
Oh, please.
I don't want you to like mix up the things, but I feel like it's a touchy subject because there can be creators out there and be like, bro, like you're like the typical millennial. You're not entitled to, like, if you want to give free game. It happened to me last week, or when I was telling you about it. I was like, do you think I'm giving too much free game? And because somebody asked me, like, how much do you charge? And then I was like, I charge this much. I was like, cool, thanks. Like, barely say thanks. And I was like, okay, like I kind of feel entitled. I'm like, okay, like, bro, like I'm kind of feeling the same way you are, but at the same time, it's like, well, shit, that was my fault, and now I know not to give too much free game. But there's a difference between like what he said, like you overcharge so you can get a.
No,
like,
I understand that. I just that gave me an opportunity to like get into this conversation.
Yeah,
That's
about
why.
the referral fee.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's how I feel about it. Regardless of this is just business, right?
Of course.
Regardless of who you are as an individual, you're given the opportunity to show who you are when somebody gives you an opportunity to eat at their table or to eat from their network, and you decide what you do with that. Now, you might be in a situation where you really need all of that money. There's other ways to support that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, tossing back a referral, putting them on to someone, like maybe that person has a higher skill set than you. So you put them on to a bigger project. Maybe it's just like liking their fucking pictures on Instagram.
Sure.
And resharing their podcast. Like, we're all given this opportunity. Now, at the same time, you are keeping notice of the people that like you extend these opportunities to.
I know. I could tell from like who's the one that just keeps getting, receiving, but doesn't give anything back.
That's right.
It's like it's one of those like, yeah, I'll give someone $1. So hey, can I borrow $20? Sure. Can I get another $20 2 weeks later? Weird. Okay, here you go.
Yep.
Can I get another $20 a month later? All right, bro. What the fuck? Like,
exactly. And at the end of the day, it's like, who's losing here? It's not you. You're
definitely not
losing.
me.
It's that person.
It's just annoying.
100%, man. And that's the game though, because you're dealing
it's just a slimy way to play though.
Versus was like,
there's that's how people are.
No, yeah, and especially in business, like I mean, it's different. Like it's kind of a free for all. It's like a WrestleMania.
So there's the whole concept of just like operating from a place of scarcity, and a lot of people are so scared of having to go back to that 9 to 5 or just like are just shitty humans in general. Mm-hmm. And so like that's how they operate. Now, on the other hand, you'll meet people, and this is my favorite kind of creative, the person who's like very giving, like, hey bro, how do you do this? And like, for example, rewinding back to like the podcast where you were talking about our experience at the studio, mm-hmm. like me and J Pro were there because we just want to be a part of that energy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like we were like, yeah, we ain't doing shit.
And he described the energy was insane.
Yeah.
When I listened back on that podcast and like your experience, like your eyes that you saw that through, it was really cool because like J Pro is like same vibe, same tribe. Like I met him and he immediately started pouring into me and I immediately started pouring back into him.
Yeah. That's healthy though.
That's super healthy.
It can't be one-sided though.
It can't ever be one-sided. So and that's what I'm saying. So like when people just take, they're setting themselves up to lose out on future opportunities. You got to give back, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to pay respect. Like somebody's looking out for you. It's not just in the creative game. It's in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're letting me borrow, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, like, you know, like give back. And so like those people are always going to make it further.
It's just something like I won't really like say something out loud, but I'll keep tabs though. Mental tabs.
You're filing them underneath. Oh, okay. Like this person's a taker. They never give back.
Never, ever.
That's never good, bro.
Yeah, never good.
Clients can smell that shit.
Yeah. So Sam, my question to you is, what advice do you have to Alberto? Like, let's say, what do you tell him? Like, okay, there's this motherfucker who I keep like, yo, I'm referring you. When am I gonna get something in return?
And it sounds shitty because like I don't want anything back, but it's like at the same time like, bro, like I'm giving you so much free game. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's like a one-sided friendship.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
What do you have to offer?
Yeah, I think that you know, like there's that old saying, it's like fool me once, fool me twice. Bro, 3 strikes, like the number 3, like business happens in 3s, sports happen in 3s.
3 strikes and you're out.
You know what I mean? There's someone else out there who's going to be 20 times more thankful for that opportunity, 20 times more thankful for that advice, 20 times more thankful for that knowledge.
Facts.
And they deserve that opportunity.
Facts.
And so like that's just life, bro. Like we gotta normalize like, hey, like I'm a good guy, I have a big heart, and I've been in these shoes before. So like, that's why I can speak like close on that. Is you just got to move on, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Like there's someone else out there waiting for that shot and that opportunity. And like that person, those people, those takers need to learn.
Yeah.
And so like you've been placed in their path to teach them a lesson.
Right.
Because like you operate that way. I operate that way. You operate that way.
Yeah.
So we are not crazy to think that like, you know, there is a give and take that happens in the world.
Yeah.
Facts.
And I want to piggyback off what you guys said. So one thing you said about when we met, I mean, I met you by we shot a fitness Ty. We shot Ty, right? And then you came along. He told me he was like, hey, by the way, so and so is coming. He's a creative too, this and that. And I was honest in the pod. I'm telling you straight in the face. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why does he need another photographer? Like, bro, like we're paying for the studio time, this and that. And then I said it in the pod, like I was like, okay, like I hope it's just not like weird, you know? Another photographer is gonna come and be like, yo, scoot
Claim
over
your territory.
Yeah. So like what Alberto saying is like, what the hell? Like whatever. But then once I met you and I was like, oh shit, like this is the creative like that can give back to me. We can piggyback ideas, you know, like, and it was just an awesome experience, you know?
Yeah, man. So something that like, I don't know if it's a West Coast thing. Maybe you guys could break this down for me.
Sure, bring it.
Is like, and maybe specifically in Southern California, because there's that dynamic of like San Diego creatives and then like LA.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people that like either like haven't made it into LA or can't make it into LA or don't feel like they can be in LA, but they could. It's just a matter of like mindset. There's a lot of like, no, I'm not telling you how I shoot my shit. No, I'm not telling you my lens. Like, bro, I know you're watching the same Peter McKinnon and
tutorial
shit for a video I watched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have the same lights as you, so like let's share and let's get there closer or faster together.
Yeah.
Which kind of rewinds to that whole free game thing. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, but like, it's like
giving is only ever gonna give back to you, even if there's takers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the going back to that to just kind of like loop that out. Like if you give value, if you give, number one, 90% of people ain't gonna do shit with what you give them. Just facts.
That's such
like,
a fucking
90%.
true, man.
Like I could tell you guys exactly the setup they're using to record this podcast, the exact cameras and lenses, and 90% of you won't go and start a podcast this week.
And
those are just the facts.
Literally before you even showed up, I told Pete today because we were talking about something similar to this, and it's like, yeah, I pretty much told him like everything I fucking own. It's like, bro, it doesn't matter. Like you could tell them how to fucking shoot it, and they will never replicate your fucking look and your style because it's your unique style. Not everyone could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, bro, kudos on that style, because like when I'm looking through these pictures, you know, a year ago, I was like, yo, this dude's nice. Yo, this dude's nice.
Yeah.
And as a creative, there's just like that respect because it takes time to like find
Your lane.
Your lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like Southern California, like LA is kind of more like, oh no, like what do you do? Like you're a photographer too? Like, nope, can't talk to you. Can't add you on Instagram, do this and that. But right here in San Diego, I feel like it's like for me personally, I can speak like when I met you, it was like, all right, let me get a vibe. And then boom, vibe check, you passed it. And then we got to know each other. You told me how, if I was in the frame, I was like, what? Like, oh shit. Like, and then I looked, we're ordering drinks. I was like, what the fuck is this guy? I'm like, oh fuck. We follow each other. Honor Division, this and that. But once we were in the studio, bro, like you put the, I was like in a rush. I was like, yo, can you put some music on? You put some bangers. I was like, holy shit. Like we have a lot in common.
I hit him with the wubs.
Dude, it was,
I hit him with the wubs, boys.
Yeah,
So-
you're playing this fucking.
Okay, so we went super off track, but I feel like it was a healthy, great discussion.
Yeah, man.
So you start hiring photographers for like gigs that you think you're not really great at, but I could outsource myself. Which is fucking ahead of the game, because a lot of people feel like they need to do everything themselves because like their ego checking them, like, yo, I'm the creative, so I need to create everything myself from my bare hands. Like, bro, like that's sure you can do that, but you're gonna miss on a lot of money.
Yeah, so I think that this has been like a therapy session. You guys should start charging for this.
Free game.
Free game in the frame. Something I realized as we're having this conversation, and I apologize for like the order of it,
It's all good.
is I didn't look at the creative game like I was creating. That was my passion. That's why I was doing it. But I looked at it like with the example of like my uncles who owned these trucking companies and hired owner operators to drive their trucks. I just thought about that. Like I never like, you know, like that didn't just come from nowhere. It came from somewhere. And I was reading a lot of books when I was younger, but I wasn't reading business books.
You got to experience shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and I'm in church and I'm seeing like my dad build a team and like have like these ministers, you know, or whatever. And these people like help like put together this essential cult, right? Culture. And so like, I just kind of came out into the world doing the same thing. Like I've seen this before, this works. And something that like I've had like previous business partners and employees tell me is like, I get people real excited, you know, and that all comes from a place of like, yo, we're going to do this and this is going to be awesome. And having an intrinsic just understanding that like, you need X amount of money for you to be happy. You need X amount of money for you to be happy. I don't want to do it by myself. So like, what's the number that like they're gonna jump for? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then that goes back to our conversation, where it's like, how do you now, like, without selling, get them to jump onto that vision?
Facts. That's
Like,
why
get them excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a big advocate of doing a FaceTime call or a Zoom call, man. Like those
100%.
calls are the best. They're meetings, so those are the best way to, like, once they sense your passion, and it's like, I gotta fucking work with this person. I have to work with this person, no matter how much he costs. And if it's out of my range, I'm gonna work for it. Like, I've had people like say, like, dude, I had to fucking save up to get this shit because I needed to work with you over anyone else. I'm like, dude, fucking crazy.
That's the vibe, bro.
Yeah.
That makes, like, that was like a heartwarming moment. Just because I see a lot of creatives out there that struggle with that. And they struggle with, like, going back to like what I said, like a sense of security, or just like a self-belief. Like, if you're out here operating a camera and you're shooting in manual, you're already like 90% ahead of the curve. And so, like, I feel like
that's the first step of getting a camera is go on manual mode, but apparently it's not.
No, and it's because people are really good at, they just want the quality sometimes. Like, some people like ditch the iPhone just to get the quality, but like, I mean that in like a, hey, like, if you're doing this much and like you're watching the videos and like you're listening to podcasts like this one to up your creative game, you're already ahead of the curve. Double your prices. Like, immediately, just double your prices.
Off rip.
Like, right now, if you're listening to this and you've been thinking about it, double your prices. Like, off rip. I can guarantee you, you're underselling yourself. Like, I'm going to double my prices.
Yeah. Chef this putter. I'm doubling
my price just went up.
And this shit was going to be 10 racks now.
And that's really where it's at. And like, you know what changes? The only thing that changes is that, like, you believe in that value, because you're going to align yourself with clients that will pay the price that you just doubled yourself up to.
Yeah.
So like, that's another thing that happens in the creative game is like, whether it's like a website, right? So like, I've sold websites for $10,000. I've sold websites for $3,000. And I did less work on the website that I charged $10,000 for. They were much happier to pay me for that, right? And I'm over here like building out an e-commerce website right now, and I'm just like, why did I charge this so low? And I know why. I'm in California. I'm like trying to get my bearing on the ground. I'm building my agency back up, and that scarcity, like, you know, like, my self-esteem was down. I was like, oh, I need this. I could have charged them $5. They would have paid it. They wanted, like you said, they wanted to work with me because they're like watching what I'm doing and like how much I care about what I do. They would have paid $5. So double your prices.
Well, now lesson learned though.
100%.
So
you're still in Maryland at this point with the when you take over the clients.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap that story up, because it's where Surge was born. So I have a creative agency called Surge.
You created that.
Yeah. This was 6 years ago to the date. I'm getting memories on my Facebook. I talked to him. I'm like, hey, like, I see you have a client list. Like, I know you have a lease. Let me take over the lease. Let me take over your 2 iMacs. Like,
yeah,
I'll service these clients for you. He goes, okay, like, that sounds good. Buy it for this amount of money. Let's just say it was like 15, 20 grand, right?
Damn.
Something like
So
that.
you had to buy the clientele.
I had to buy the business.
Okay.
And I go, okay, here's the deal. I don't have that money, and I don't have anyone that can lend me that money, but I know that people are blowing you up. I literally looked at him and told him this. I was like, I know people are blowing you up right now because I hear the phone ringing, kind of like, you know. And I had intel from the guy that he shared the office with. He's like, yeah, like, people are like stopping by, and he's like not here. And I was like, all right, I have all the intel I need. I was like, I know people are blowing you up, and I know you still owe people stuff, and I know that you were just like done with this. I was like, but I want this. Like, I need this opportunity. I will pay you back that money over X amount of months, and I will service all those clients for you, including the people that you owe stuff to. Like, I got you. And
call it even.
A week later, like, he agrees. I get keys. So 6 years ago on Facebook, it's like me posting a picture of me with these keys to this office. I'm 20 years old, and like I believe in myself 100%. Like, I'm the guy that like jumps off cliffs and then like figures shit out later.
Yeah.
And I remember this, and 2 days later I had painted the whole office like with Pantone colors. Like, I had this shit looking like a legit creative agency.
Fuck.
And like, business started rolling in, and that is 6 years ago what birthed the idea of even being in the agency space. Because back then I was just like an entrepreneur that had dropped out of high school that was trying to figure out how I'm going to buy the Lambo.
Right.
So like, that's like one of those things in my life that like, I grew up and I was just like, okay, a Lambo. Not many people can get one of those. And so like, I feel driven to just be able to cross that milestone. And it's not like because I really want to drive a Lambo every day. You know what I mean? It's just like for my people, man. Like,
so one question I do want to ask: how scared were you? Were you nervous? Like damn, like what the fuck did I just commit? Like, what are you feeling?
Clearly, he wasn't scared. He says he has a confidence. I mean, just this conversation about the confidence.
How?
Is insane.
No, I'm saying like there's a difference between like pulling the trigger,
yeah.
but like then be like, oh damn, Sam, like what did you just do?
Reality hits.
Yeah, when did that reality hit? Or you were just fucking full steam in the head? You didn't fucking think about that.
If I'm being honest, like there was no like fear of like of the work. It was
hesitation.
more of a fear of failure.
Okay.
Now it was like, oh shit, like I'm posting on Facebook that I have this agency. I'm only 20 years old. You know, like, am I really ready for this? Like my family's like, good to your point earlier, like my family didn't really have an understanding what I was doing up until like, they're just like, okay, you're not selling drugs, but you're making money. You know, like I'm soy Latino, like, okay, you're not selling drugs.
That's the first assumption.
Like you're on your computer. You're on your computer all the time. Like you're buying yourself clothes and shoes. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm at this point, and I'm just like, I'm not scared of the work, because I know that like at that point I've been Googling, you know, my whole life. I'm just like YouTube University, and YouTube was a thing then. So like now, like you could really accelerate your learning, but as a businessman. And so to kind of like bring you guys to modern day, over the next 5 years, from 20-year-old Sam, I'm getting hit in the face with the things that I'm speaking from experience now, confidently, about like pricing yourself adequately, like things like disciplines that I have now that I didn't have then. I continued to fail for the next 5 years. I went through 3 different offices. I went through an investor. I niched down into different industries like hospitality and like professional services, like, you know, construction companies and stuff like that.
There you go.
I became a marketer. At that point, I was just like a web designer, and now I'm a marketer, right? And I would say that if you asked me what I really am, I would tell you that I'm a sales and marketing person, a creative one that, you know, can handle a camera and can design things that a lot of people think look good. I still look at it like my worst critic. I'm just like, this could be so much better.
Yeah, you're always gonna do that, though.
Yeah.
So how'd you land to the West Coast?
Yeah. So so how do you transfer to the West Coast? Did you outgrow the East Coast? Did you transfer all your clients here? What's the deal with that?
Or something crazy happened?
Yeah. How the fuck did you end up in San Diego?
Yeah, man. So over that period of 5 to 6 years, I'm failing, learning. They're all lessons. At that point, I didn't realize why. I never thought I'd live here. Most people don't know I was born in California. So I was born in Salinas to a truck driver dad, and grew up on the East Coast.
Gotcha.
My entire life, 4 or 5 years, those 4 or 5 years were like, you know, you're stepping into adulthood. I'm 20, 21, 22, 23. You're going out. Like I was a promoter as well during that time. So I'm in DC, like promoting parties. Yeah, I'm hustling, bro. The goal was always $1 million before 25. I didn't come nowhere near close. But, you know, a couple 6-figure years, which I think is pretty impressive, especially for a Latino who's, you know, a high school dropout. I mean, I don't know.
I think you're doing good.
That's my trophy.
I think you're doing good. Let's
go.
Tell your mom I made 6 figures.
Yeah. So I just I niched down right before COVID.
Do you mind what niche?
Yeah. So hospitality.
Gotcha.
I just happened to have a lot of restaurants. I liked doing food pictures. Food pictures do well on Instagram. So who knows if that was like influenced at all. But I come from that promoter background. So I know that people like to drink and eat food, and like some of these restaurants would do like nightlife. So it was just like a natural fit for me. Excuse me. And I niched down, and one of my clients, I'll fast forward through this part, like tells me, because I had like kind of failed my 3rd time.
Necessary fails, though.
The failures are so necessary.
Yeah.
And when they're happening, you're just like, fuck, like I suck, like I took on too much. And a lot of it was just like things that I probably would have learned in school, or if I had mentors. So definitely reach out for mentorship at the earliest stage you can, like now. And if I had mentors that taught me a little more about bookkeeping, or a little bit more about payroll, or a little bit more about like time management, and like always like never like promise something and not deliver that, you know, or like, you know, like just small things that a 20-year-old who like didn't necessarily have like the structure of like parents that were always home, or like whatever, you know, I'm not making excuses.
And it's very easy just to say like, yeah, I could take care of that. Yeah, I could take care of it. Yeah, I could take care of it. And you try to figure it out, and then reality hits like, bro, I can't deliver.
Exactly. I took on far too many times in my life. I took on far too much, and that is what it is. I learned from it. I got to this opportunity. So right before California came into my life, I had probably built the best version of my agency. I had partnered up with this guy, a great friend of mine, mentor. His name's Jeremy Wright. And this is somebody who went to like Wharton, had an MBA, had very successful businesses. I built him like 5 websites already. Damn. He had invested in me already one time. He had given me a place for my 3rd office. He became my business partner.
Yeah.
This is some cool stuff was happening in the marketing world where like you could automate Facebook Messenger chatbots. And I figured out a way to like tie Facebook Messenger chatbots to like paid ads for restaurants and increase their ROI. So like if they were paying us and what a marketing package would go for, like with my agency, just to kind of give everyone like a ballpark is like, like $2 to $3 grand a month. And we're guaranteeing, and like this is how you sell creative stuff is ROI. Like, how are you going to make money with this?
Right.
Like, what is the value of this?
Return on investment.
So we niched down. I started hiring creative people. I even started outsourcing to some people in Mexico because I've always wanted to like kind of create job opportunities for our people. And I got to the point where like we had, I'd say like about 15 or 16 different restaurants, 2 nightclubs. And I was probably making the most money I've ever made. I was finally not draining the bank account.
This is here in San Diego?
This was back home right before COVID.
Gotcha.
And I've, like let down my business partner because I'm like 20-year-old Sam living out of survival mode, turning into like prime time Sam is what I would consider. Like, I definitely feel like the last 2 years have been just so drastic for me as like a businessman and as a human, and just like again going back to like discipline and consistency. And COVID happens, and at the same time I was exiting like a 6-year relationship that I had been in, and I'm just like heartbroken. I'm sitting at home a month and a half into COVID, like, what the fuck? Like, I've never worked that hard in my life, and I've always been a hard worker, but I've never worked that hard in my life. And like my business was just gone, disintegrated. Like, there's no PPP. Like, all clients, like, they can't be open. So like there's no like, Sam, we'll be back. We don't know when we're going to be back. Right. I'm having conversations with people like feeling bad for them because like I don't even know if their restaurants are still going to be here.
Right.
And around that same time,
I feel like restaurants like the biggest hit.
Oh, dude, that's a whole other podcast in itself.
Yeah. So I want to ask you one thing because you haven't really clarified it. So did you break up with your 6-year and then your business started going down, or did this happen simultaneously? Or?
Just around the same time. Yeah. Like I had just exited that relationship, and then COVID happened, and then my business fell apart or was taken. I almost in a sense
it was taken.
Yeah.
Because like I was doing everything.
Okay.
I was, for the first time in my life, showing up on time, executing when I said I was going to execute, showing up for my clients. I had a team. I had systems and procedures, which you'll hear me preach about all the time now. And so, COVID happened around that same time. To just kind of get you guys here to California, I called to check in on like one of the 2 people I know here in San Diego. And I had visited here 3 years ago, and I was like, if I ever move, I'm moving here. I want to come check out California, like the sunsets, the weather, like this is my life. I'm also a car guy. I'm also a motorcycle guy. Like, I want to live somewhere I can wrench on shit and just do hood rat shit when I'm not creating, And I called her, and she's just like, I'm on Craigslist looking for a roommate. This shit's wild, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, look, like, if you're down, like, I'll sell all my shit and move out west. And like, I had nothing there for me. I'm in a small town. Like, I knew it was time to go explore something.
Yeah.
See what, like, worst case scenario, I'm back in a year.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at it.
So you took your talents to San Diego.
So yeah, man, sold everything, and I came out here, and I got here, and I didn't have a lot of money really, but like I had all those experiences, all those things that I had learned. I had my camera, I had my Sony A7 III with me.
Oh damn.
I sold my computer when I came out here, but I came out here with like a Razer Blade Pro laptop. I know the creatives can resonate with these things, and so I had my tools. I came here with my tools, and for the first 3 months, I worked as a bud tender at a dispensary in San Diego near the airport called Clover. And Clover was like, no pun intended, my like lucky charm. I was able to like, as a bud tender, like meet some of like the people that are my clients now.
Okay.
I was able to network and meet people like J-Pro. And then, like I said, before I even got here, I'm on Instagram, like socializing, networking during COVID, which was kind of perfect.
It's called social media for a reason.
You got to be social, man. I preach that every day because I think that a lot of us need that reminder. We forget that, like,
people think social media is a highlight reel and just out there just to get clout.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You got to be social. That's the whole point of social media.
That's right. And play the game, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's okay to, like, share both wins and losses, but just be social and just be yourself. I think that the problem with that is when we become disenfranchised to, like, being ourselves, you know, like. But yeah, the point that I was trying to make is, like, that's kind of like when you guys came across my radar. You know, I'm scanning, like, what's happening in San Diego. One of, like, actually, like, my best friends here now, a dude named Zeke Kitchen, who does, I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram.
No, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Zeke's awesome.
We actually featured him at Frame of the Week one time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So Zeke's like this.
I was gonna ask you, how did you meet him?
On Instagram.
And
I met him on Instagram when I was on the East Coast, and I was like,
Really?
I'm moving to San Diego. I love your work. You know, this is who I am. And Zeke just gave me the time of day. Most people would probably be like, who the fuck is this guy with 1,300 followers? Like,
yeah, fuck off.
You know what I mean? Like, my Instagram doesn't even, like, really show the story that I've shared with you guys because that Instagram got banned. That's a whole other story.
Damn.
So I got, like, reset in life. This is when Instagram rolled out their algorithm changes. And I was exploring, like, some of the automation features of, like, things like Jarvee, where, like,
and they're not cool with third parties.
Yeah, but, like, it wasn't like everyone's like, oh, he was paying for followers. Like, no, I was using certain automation features to, like, just automate certain things in my life, like going out and liking certain, like, hashtags or certain accounts, you know, that kind of thing.
It's a big no now.
To this day, we have homies that will message like, "Hey, bro, how you doing? Hey, you've reached blah blah blah. Please email me." I was like, "What the fuck? What is this, bro?"
Yeah, it's definitely an automated thing.
Yeah. So so I got reset at, like, 5,000 followers, and, like, that gave me, like, a terrible taste in my mouth about Instagram, and I didn't care about Instagram again until I moved west.
Okay.
Because it was time to, like, socialize and network.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's how I ended up in California. I'm rebuilding that same agency. The dream is still alive. When I got here, I definitely didn't want to start an agency again. But it was, like, connections like these with, like, the creative people out here. There's just a different level of creativity out here that I don't think people like, especially people that are from San Diego, don't understand, like, how special it is. Like,
probably not, because I don't get it. Like, you're like gassing it, and it's like, to me, it's like it's every
gas.
day.
Yeah, nah, it's not everywhere. It's not. And I'm from a small town too, so, like, yeah, like, I'm from the DMV, and there was creative people and stuff happening out there, but there are some high level creators and companies that support the creative, like, world out of San Diego.
And that brings me to my next question. The first time I ever met you, you told me, it's like, yeah, bro, like, I was from VA or DMV, and I came here, and I was like, I was the best at my spot, East Coast, and then I came here, and I was like, holy shit, what am I doing here? Like, do I even belong here? Like, how did that hit you, and how did you respond to that?
Yeah, dude. It's something. It's actually a really funny story. There's this one time, me and J Pro are shooting something in my backyard for a couple homies that I had met. We're shooting a short film, and, like, J Pro's, like, a very, like, one of my favorite people, but, like, very, like, bold, like, you know, outspoken. And he's just like, damn, bro, like, you're gonna shoot with that shutter speed? And I'm just like, yo, bro, back the fuck up. Like, I got this. Like, I'm much better at editing than I am at holding the camera. Like, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
And that was, like, my first moment where I was like, fuck. And J Pro's a fucking legend, like, photographer. Like, I like to gas him up. He's awesome. He's like, we're sitting the other day, and this, trust me, this goes to your point. We're sitting there the other day, and he's just like, keyboard shortcuts in Lightroom Classic, and, like, completely changed my workflow for editing pictures in Lightroom forever.
Shortcuts is the best, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
and
I'm the king of shortcuts in freaking, like, Premiere, man. It saves you so much time, like,
so
in the long
much
run. It sucks to, like, learn it, but, like, in the long term, like, you save a lot of time.
Yeah. So I've just always been on, like, the hustle side of it. And so, like, now, and to my point, so I get to California, and I'm just like, okay, like, I got the business side of this down. It's time to really dig deep and, like, explore why I like to create, what kind of things I like to create, and how can I do them well. Like, workflow is a huge part of, like, being a good creative. If you don't want to take the time to learn shortcuts, it's going to be harder for you to get your reps in. It's like going to, like, if you don't know shortcuts, it's like basically like going to the gym and it taking you 3 hours for something that should take you 60 minutes.
Right.
To do on a daily basis.
Right.
And if you're not doing those reps on a daily basis, if you're not editing on a daily basis, you're not building that muscle. Back home, I'm hiring creatives. You know, it was really easy for me to be like, yo, Berto, come shoot, like, Peter, come shoot this. Like, $1,000. I'm gonna charge $3. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Out here, you know, because I've had to restart, and I do have the opportunity of, like, even you guys being like, hey guys, like, I have a project, let's go do this. But there's just, like, a part of me that's like, well, fuck, like this is my life now. This is what I can't tote this title of creative content creator, creative director, and like just settle at like what I've put out just visually, not even strategically, because in strategy and like the marketing plan, I always feel like I bring a lot of heat to the table, but visually I've always known that I could lean on someone. So just being here and being surrounded by like the creative pool that's here and that like comes down from LA, and like I think San Diego has like a lot of underrated creators that like just haven't explored taking those talents into like commercial applications for sure.
Right.
That have just definitely like, dude, like even Ty's got like a ton of like Sony G Master, like he was telling you about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
And like Ty like was like one of those guys that like checked me when I got here. He was like, "You're shooting in manual, right?" And I'm just like, "Cool." Like I can't fake it out here no more. Like,
like yeah, bro.
that was me. Do you checking this guy all the time about manual?
I was like, yeah.
To my defense, I only shot landscape, so I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, so like I would always check my bro. You're not even shooting manual, bro. Like what the fuck? You call yourself a photographer? Like we dog each other like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I love that.
But it's like I'm trying to push them. Like yo, like dude, if you go on manual, man, you could do so much more than fucking.
Eventually,
auto.
I did go to manual for my porch. Just future clients like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, had to put it out there.
Nah, it was only landscapes.
So how's the adjustment been as far as like, are you still like outsourcing yourself right now? Like kind of like how we're doing in the DMV.
So I do everything now. I do get a lot of support from like Zeke. So Zeke's on board with Surge, and he's been helping me do a lot of like photography and videography. JPro's also been like helping me with some of my personal branding. But right now, I basically have social media accounts here and back home. So I still run social media for some people back home, but not old clients. They're all new clients that I've gotten since I've been here.
Sure.
Instagram has been an incredible tool. Just sharing. You guys follow me, right? So like just sharing like process, like a lot like you guys do, as I'm sure you guys could speak to, brings in a lot of clients. I mean, it's just the social world we live in now.
And I love that you share like the process, because like you're also educating the client. Like, hey, I'm not just freaking pressing a button, voila, you have a perfect image. No, this takes fucking time, effort, resources, money. I mean, storage, like all that costs a lot of fucking money and time.
100%.
So, and it's like one of those, like, you're not paying me for just an hour of shooting. You're paying me for me being able to do something that used to take 5 hours to like 1 hour. You're paying for that efficiency.
100%. It's that like super popular like video that came out for filmmakers. It's like what clients think it looks like, and it's like the snap, and it's just like you plug in the SD card and it spits out a video. But what it really looks like is 4 hours looking for the right song if you're doing a video, 3 hours culling through the footage, color grading, interpreting, frame rate, like things that they're just never going to understand.
And they'll never understand it.
They'll never, and they don't want to understand it. That's why they're hiring you. You're the expert. You know, the doctor doesn't sit there and break down the process that he's about to
They just say, we're going to fix your knee, and that's it.
That's right.
And talking about efficiency, I was telling Alberto, like you created a reel within like 10 minutes, bro. Like I was shooting, and then I was like, you've been tagged on the thing, and I was like, what the fuck? Like what? I got tagged in the reel, and you created that shit really quick. So like, kudos to your proficiency, man.
Thank you. That was my first reel ever.
Really?
And since then, I've created like 4 or 5. I'm sure you guys have covered this, but it should be said. Reels are where it's at. Keep it real on the gram. Some of the guests that you guys have had on here recently are killing it with reels and like showing people how to like going back to that, we're gonna call that back. The guy that you guys had on here, that was like, call those local businesses and be like, go do that shit. If you're like thinking about like, how do I make that extra enter amount here because you're gonna double your prices?
Facts.
He's about to get that referral.
Go, kick us, break us down.
Game right here, dude. 10%, 10%. That's it. That's all we're asking.
If I bring any value to the table, like, look, check it out. Check back with me in 30 days because I'm about to go implement that advice. That's how good that shit was. And like, I am very like, I go anyway with sales, but I love that one. Yeah. Because everyone, like Gary Vee's preaching about it, and Gary Vee's reaching all of these prospective clients that you guys want to be talking to. And he's stressing the importance of reels. Like your favorite influencer is stressing the importance of reels. If you're in this creative game right now, like, and you want more clients,
double down.
Go make some fucking reels, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you might be able to, you might make some like corny shit like the whole fucking finger thing. Fucking hate that shit, dude. It's so goddamn annoying. But I mean, that's what people want. This is what people want.
It's the evolution, man. And you know, like this will change, and there'll be a new trend.
Yeah, there'll be a new trend for sure.
Right now, 100%, 2022 first half.
Reels,
short form content.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
TikTok and,
Micro
and
content.
Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
The highlight reels. I mean, fuck, dude. I don't like sitting through 30, 45 minutes of something. So if you're still listening to this, you're fucking awesome.
Give us that thumbs up, man.
Like while you're at it.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's just hearing your story, man. Like, this is my first time meeting you, and it's like fucking you're dropping bombs and whatnot. We're like, what? Like, being a high school dropout and you're making six figures, and now you're in the West Coast and you're still killing it, man. Like, that's fucking dope, man.
I gotta make more money, bro. It's expensive out this motherfucker.
I mean, we've always preached that to the Korean again. Like, here, living in San Diego is not cheap.
It's
that's
not,
for sure.
Man. Back home, like, just to give you perspective, like back home, for half of what I pay for my house now, I had the same exact thing. I pay twice as much.
Welcome to California.
You know what I mean? Gas is twice as much. That's why I bought a motorcycle.
Bro, one of my homies lives in North Carolina, South Carolina, 1 bedroom, luxurious one bedroom, $600.
Okay, that's just fucked up. The
I'm
South
like,
got
what the
ridiculous real estate prices right now.
I'm like,
bro.
what the hell, bro?
Yeah.
But Sam, we appreciate you being on this Potter.
Do you have any last second tips for any young creative out there?
You're watching yourself. What are you telling yourself? You're just starting your creative journey. What's your advice?
Yeah, get in front of the fucking camera, dude. Like, start young. Like, right now. I've said this before, and I'll bring it back. Back in the day, like, if you were like super stylish, like you were the popular kid, or like if you were super athletic, you were the popular kid. The next 5 years, the next 2 years will be shaped by people that learn how to create content and are able to just be themselves. Like, at any given point, like right now, the three of us are having this exchange. Mm-hmm. If the cameras were off, we'd still be having a similar exchange.
Yeah.
You got to get comfortable in front of the camera. Like, people want to buy from people.
I'll play devil's advocate. Okay, what if you just want to create, but you don't want to be in front of the camera? You just want to be that mysterious dude that never shows his face, but just want to create dope fire.
You better be like the best.
Okay.
I agree with that.
That's true. That's true, though.
Because guess what? Like, I'm not. So I'm going to be in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And for the majority.
And you're going to sell with your personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that brings my good point. So do you think any creative, do you think they have to have that personable skill? Because obviously you have it. So do you think someone that lacks it needs to, like, I got this creative shit. Let me go focus on personable skills. How can I sell myself? Do you think that's more important?
I think that...
or do you think it's 50-50, or what do you think?
Like, having a personality versus your skill level? I think that both are important. I think that most people can, like, pick up the creative, because the creative doesn't require you to be in front of a camera. It just requires you to put in time. And most people are willing to put in the time for the things that they care about. Most people aren't willing to work on, like, the personable skills or being more extroverted. Here's the thing, right? There are there are content creators out there right now. Like, fuck the introvert excuse. That's just an excuse. Because there's people out there with 1 million followers that don't talk nearly as much as me that are standing in front of a camera right now and building these massive Instagrams.
Right.
Because they're willing to put themselves out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, how bad do you want it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all dealt a different deck of cards.
Shouts to Sam Colder.
You know what I mean?
Monotone.
How bad do you want it? Exactly. That's a perfect example, dude. That's a perfect
Sam Colder's gonna be like, who is this guy hating on me? Well, right? You don't get it? Like,
yeah.
Buy my course. Do you want to learn how to drone like this? Like,
here's the thing, right? Here's the like the advice that sums all this up. Your personality is your opportunity.
Damn,
someone's gonna fuck with you for who you are, monotone or like super loud. Like, some people are gonna fucking hate my guts. Guess what? They're not gonna buy from me. But somebody's gonna hear me, see me, feel me, and be like, I want to fuck with this guy because this guy's very passionate about what he does.
It's a fact, bro. I go through this shit all the time, man. The people that work with me, they're like, dude, I just like, we have great chemistry. Like, I don't really have to tell you what to do. You're great at anticipating things and you just make shit happen. And then your turnaround is also crazy. So yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, you still got to put in that fucking work no matter what.
That's it, man. Especially like when you don't want to, which I think is like the hardest thing for us as creatives.
Yeah, that's me with like wedding films. Like, it's not like everyone knows it's not my favorite thing to do, but I just sat down and started. I had to do it.
Yeah.
And so like now I'm in flow. So like now I'm loving it. Like, and I know it's always like a mental battle for me where it's like, just getting started fucking sucks. Going through my select sucks. Searching for the song sucks. Thank God I found a song like on the first play on Artlist, and it worked.
No free ads.
Yeah, fuck that. But Yeah, dude. But once I'm in flow, man, it's like my favorite part of the editing stage is like, dude, I'm in flow. Like this works here. This works with this fucking beat drop, with the speeches, and it's like you're just creating a puzzle. It's all it is.
I'd almost offer a discount if the client picked the song for me.
Okay, the only thing about that is like they're gonna go straight out like picking the most popular song out there.
Copyright
And copyright's a really big thing right now. Like freaking studios are like attacking. Like one of my YouTube videos got muted because I used a Kanye West song. This was like 4 years ago, and it's a real thing. So that's why there's music subscriptions. And I always tell them like, yo, like fuck, like I have creative controls when it comes to music, and I'm down to collaborate. And like, hey, these are the options. Like, what do you think is best? But I'm not going to use a fucking popular song because I've gone through that before. When me and a couple had to go back and forth. My bro, I can't do it. He's like, no, it's just for us. We'll never go online. I'm like, I can't take that chance because I could get fucked. Like, you're not going to get in trouble. It's going to come back to me, you know? So that's just my little spiel about that.
I say it as a joke because like picking that song, especially for like, so I've done weddings. I should mention, like I was in church. People were always like, oh, will you shoot our wedding? And I just want to take this moment to apologize to a couple of those weddings that I just like applied the same preset to all your photos in Lightroom and charged you $1,000 for.
So you're the guy that Pete hates.
Guilty.
How's it going?
Hey, well, you were learning though.
I was learning.
There
bro.
you go.
I was
there you
falling
go.
on my face at 17. Come
You're
see
17.
me.
Yeah.
Come see me, bro. Yeah. and the preset was free because I Googled it.
Use a teal and orange preset.
Well, Samuel, we appreciate your time, man.
All right, so before you take off, man, if you could share one of your horror client stories, something we just started recently doing. So I feel like it's something that if you could explain your story, what'd you learn from it, and I'm sure some creative out there is going to learn from a valuable lesson. Exactly. Or could relate, yeah.
As soon as you said that, I immediately thought of the perfect one.
You don't have to drop names. You don't have to drop names or location.
We're not going to drop names.
Just in case they're watching the Potter.
This happened when I got to San Diego.
Shit, why here?
First one, San Diego.
It wasn't a client from San Diego. It was a client from back home.
Gotcha.
And they had hired me to build out this website for like a UVC, germicidal, like UV light wholesaler. Like they were equipping hospitals with like this technology that
it's like COVID stuff. Gotcha.
I took on the project. I gave them a deal because at the time I'm working, as a bud tender, and I'm trying to like get my business going. I'm like, I need to buy a computer. I need a desk. You need your desk.
Yeah. You're trying to lift it off the ground.
Trying to get off the ground. And I gave them this killer price and
something very low, I'm assuming.
Super low. Like,
you don't have to say the number, but if you want,
like $2,000.
Damn.
For a website that easily was $5,000.
Damn.
Like at this point in the game, like I've put the reps in.
Yeah.
And so anyways, they pay me a deposit. I start the work. I make a logo, business cards, whole branding identity package, send it to them, and design like the homepage of the website. And for like a month and a half, I don't hear from them. Now I'm still working this job. So like I'm not able to communicate with them as well as I should have, just because like I'm on the job and like you're not allowed to be on your phone. And then like I get out of the job at 10.
Oh, I forgot you're working.
And I was working. And then back home, it's like I get out at 10. It's like 1 a.m.
Gotcha. Fuck,
because there's that 3 hour difference. Yeah. So this was like one of like the first times that this. Anyways, they so like one day I'm just like on my way to work and I'm like checking my bank account, and that's something I do in the morning. And I'm just like, fuck.
Where's the rest?
My account's negative. I'm like, fuck. Where's the rest? My account's negative $1,000, and I was just like, no. It was like in that moment, like I could just like, fuck. I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah.
And so they like disputed the charge. Thankfully I had proof that I had like done the website.
What do you mean? They took the money? Wait.
So like they paid me with a credit card, the deposit, and they just disputed and said I never gave them anything.
Wow.
The story gets better.
Oh, please.
So we go.
I already have questions right now.
We go to dispute on Square. Square hits me, and like I've been in this situation before.
Square to the viewers. What's that?
Like Square, like the app, like the Square Cash. Like,
gotcha.
Like it's like PayPal.
Okay.
And they hit me, and they're like, please insert your proof. Like, what do you say to this dispute? And I'm just like, well, fuck, I got a lot to say. I was like, here's the logo I made. Here's the business cards I made. Here's the website that I was working on.
You pretty much show proof of what you did.
Here are the emails where I'm asking for content.
Yeah, paper trail.
They never. So the advice here, aside from the fact that like this almost sank my career here in San Diego, is always keep proof of stuff that you do. Receipts. I always send out like a simple like agreement contract. I try to keep them super
I
simple.
wanted to ask you, did you send a contract?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah. Just always. Yeah.
You have to.
You have to. 100%. Like
Shit like this.
This is business. We ain't playing games no more.
Yeah,
Like this is business for reasons like this. Exactly.
It's all facts, no feelings.
Yeah. And yeah, man. So that happens. I have to eat that loss during the dispute. Like, okay, I'm out $1,000.
And it takes like what, like 3-4 weeks? Probably longer.
I thought that money was gone. This has happened to me before, and I've had the work to show for it, and like PayPal has fucked me. So I will shout out Square. They looked out for me on this one, and that's why they have my business now. And
I've never heard of Square.
It's the white point of sale everywhere you go.
It's the thing you put in the phone.
It's the phone swiper. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Cash App. It's the company that owns Cash App.
Okay, gotcha.
You've seen it.
And so I'm just so like
I'm
whatever.
I'm a Venmo and PayPal guy.
By the way,
they got me scared about PayPal.
Oh yeah, they don't like you, dude. They told me straight up after like 2 of those, they were like, it's not a tangible product. And you got to understand, PayPal was like birthed from like the eBay world. So they came into the marketplace as a merchant focused on product.
So you're going to say fuck Elon Musk then?
No, I love Elon. But the point is, that was PayPal's culture. Anyways, yeah, man. So this was like one of those like moments where I was just like, fuck, like I did everything right. Like what do I do? And whatever. I was just like, I got to eat this. So like, I like, had to like eat some ramen noodles for like a couple weeks after that. And I'm like, I don't got shit to sell. I had already sold everything to move here. So I'm like just trying to figure it out. And I was able to like sell another website or something. Like I went into hustle mode. I was like, all right, I got deals right now. Who wants a website?
I got deals right now. Who wants a website?
I got deals. Yeah.
I know photographers have deals like fucking every year, like all year and shit.
Yeah. All year round.
Yeah. So like the upside to that story was like
you pulled through. Like
2 months later, like literally 2 months later, I'm like just sitting there and on my like I'm not at work anymore. I had quit that job and I'm just chilling. I'm like, fuck, I need work. And then I checked my account. I was like, yo, is this shit right? Like, I was like, did the stimmy hit? Like, I'm not getting no stimmy, but did the stimmy hit? And I was like, oh, fuck. And it was like square reversal.
Nice.
And, yeah. And so, yeah, man. So,
and you never heard from those clients?
Never.
They just straight ghosted you.
Well, they just disputed me and then they lost.
Took the product and dipped.
Well, they didn't even take it.
Idiots.
You know what I mean? And this all could have been avoided if they were just like, hey,
we don't want to do it no more.
Like, whatever. It doesn't matter at that point. Because honestly, they probably did want to do it. And they were probably frustrated. You know what I mean? But I had done my part. I had proof that I had built what they had hired me to do.
Yeah.
And, like, if we're having the conversation, like, the moral of this story is in this creative world where, like, what we do, a lot of that value we put on it because we know how long it takes us to build things.
Facts.
Per contract. Like, you just need to execute, on, like, what you said you would deliver. And so, like, if I'm waiting on copy from them and, like, their dispute is, hey, this guy hasn't furnished the things that he agreed that he was going to furnish to us. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, what are you talking about? Here's the logo. Here's the business cards. Here's the homepage for the website. I was waiting receipts. On content. Here are the emails, right? Oh, here's the moral. Have a written record of everything in email.
There you go.
That's gold.
Yeah, because I've been, don't fall for like the phone call where you make an agreement and then you don't do a contract because you're an idiot. And then, originally it was like $1,000. Like, we agreed on $500, right? I'm like, no. In the phone call, like a month ago, it was like $1,000. Yeah. Like, I don't remember saying $1,000. I think you're wrong. I'm like, bro, no, you're not. Like, that shit does happen.
Yeah.
So you gotta fucking have a contract, like right off the rip. Like, all right, I'm gonna send you an email. I'm gonna send you an email what we just discussed right now, and there's the paper trail right there. It's for your. It's just to cover your ass.
Yeah.
And there's no fuzziness. Where like, I forgot. No, bitch, you're trying to play me.
Yeah.
So, well, anything similar to that?
No, just keep a contract. One thing I've had was when I did this shoot and it was like a certain amount, and then they were like, okay, here, and I'm like, yo, like, where's the rest? And it's like, what do you mean? They thought the deposit
was the full pay.
Was the full pay for like the amount of photos, and then I screenshotted the conversation on DMs, and then I sent it to them.
Paper trail.
And they were like, oh, it's like, okay. Like, they kind of said in a tone where like, fuck, man. Like, all right, here you go. But from then on, I was like, fuck that. No matter how low I think, quote unquote, is the shoot, I'm going to send a contract. Hey, here's the price. Here's this. Boom. Sign it. And then we'll go from there.
Boom. It can just be simple. Outline the fee schedule, what the deliverables are, and when it's going to be done.
I always, and I do it in plain English too. Like, I don't go fucking, I don't go freaking court lingo and shit like that where you got to decode shit and like, what does this mean? Like, no, it's plain English. I'm going to do this, this, and this. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you this as well. And this is the cost. This is how you're going to pay me. This is deposit. And then the last half here, just like that.
And shout out to my boy Alberto. He said, "It's like I told him, he's like, yo, Pete, do you take a deposit?" I'm like barely, like 15, 20%. And then he's like, no, I always do 50%.
At least 50% up front.
I was like, and then my first, it was like 2 shoots ago. I was like, I implemented that. I was like, fuck it, give me. It's like I was like, I require 50%, and then I'll send the contract over. But send the deposit 50%, so I can know you're serious, and then we'll set the date, and that'll confirm your date, and then I'll send the contract. And they were like, no worries, boom, and they sent it. And I was like, oh my god, I'm like, what the fuck?
And kind of like what you were saying, like the higher the client, they are gonna just pay you just to pay because like they know what the fuck's up. The lower client side, go back to that meme that we talked about a couple months ago.
This is my family's savings, so please.
Yeah, and they're always going to ask you for so much bullshit too. It's like
so many changes.
Yes.
So there's just and this is just like successful people leave clues, right? People that can pay more money for your creative work have a better respect of time. They're going to show up on time. They're going to respect that they booked your time. They're going to understand why you're requiring a deposit. If somebody's giving you red flags on a deposit,
that's a read that sign.
Move the fuck on. There's 1,000 people that need a video. This is 2021.
And if you're working with rappers, good luck because they're not going to show up on time. That's a fucking fact.
Shit.
Anyways, let's go to fucking frame of the week, man.
Let's go.
So, Pete, you want to do some plugs while I get this real quick?
If you guys don't follow us on In the Frame on YouTube, subscribe. We're almost to that 100 subscriber number. So please give us a favor, do us a favor and follow us.
Hit that
In the Frame podcast on Instagram.
Hit that sub.
Let's go, guys.
Okay, so frame of the week, you'll see it here in front of Samuel's face is at Maryland Photographs, I believe. Don't know where they're based out of, but it's a wedding portrait. It's pretty something simple. It's got that orange sunset vibe look. What do you guys think about this? You used to shoot weddings. So what do you think, man?
It's fire. Symmetrical.
Yeah.
I like this.
I love the building.
Yeah, the building's awesome. And that big window, there's a little bit of reflection happening.
Yeah.
Really rugged, super, what's that? Stucco vibes. San Clemente vibes.
Is it San Clemente?
I don't know, but
this is at Menifee Lakes. Is it in Menifee? Oh yeah, it is in Menifee. Not too far from here. Yeah, a little past Temecula. Congrats on being in Frame of the Week, and thanks for supporting the Potter. And like I said, if you're not following the Frame podcast, give us a follow because we always share a lot of shit, especially during shoots. We always try to promote or try to show our BTS
behind the scenes.
Exactly. So if you, there's been people fucking literally buying gear from our recommendations, man. I hope they're affiliate links, by the way. So make sure you guys click down below in the description to see what we're using for the podcast production. And so Pete or Samuel, where can people find you, dude? Shameless plugs here.
Yeah, man. Honor the Vision on Instagram, just as it sounds. Honor the Vision.
It'll be in the lower thirds and website for your business for anyone that's out there looking for your specific style of content.
Yeah, thesurgeagency.com.
Okay, and are you looking for creators or are you looking for
always?
You're always looking for creators.
Always down. Yeah.
Well, peeps, guys,
hit them up.
Does it have to be local?
I mean, no. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I'm down to go anywhere.
There you go. Any creators out there in the San Diego area or Southern California in general, make sure to hit them up. It'll be a link in the description. And Pete, where can people find you?
You can find me at petercollinframes.com, Peter Collin Frames on Instagram. What about you?
And people can find me on Instagram at @A_Mendoza and on YouTube, Alberto Mendoza. So
this is going to do it for Potter number 44, guys. 40 fucking 4, almost to 50. Follow our boy Samuel.
Drop some fucking gems, bro. It was a great, really great podcast, man.
Tell him.
I was like, is he gonna let us sit there?
Guys, I hope you guys are really enjoying these. As always, give us that follow, give us that subscribe, give us that like.
Drop a comment, see if there's anything that you learned.
What do you want to on your latest photo when this drops? What do you want them to comment on your latest photo? What emoji?
Let me get that Thunderbolt.
There you go.
That's Surge Bolt, baby.
We're to the Chargers. Suck.
I wish they were still here.
Yeah, same.
This is going to do it for Potter number 44 of In the Frame podcast with our boy Samuel. We'll catch you on 45.
Peace.